morning light spilled through the narrow window of Lena's tailor shop, catching on floating dust motes and making them sparkle like tiny stars. The room smelled faintly of lavender soap and cotton thread. Spools of colored fabric were stacked in uneven towers, and the rhythmic hum of the old sewing machine filled the air, a melody of survival. Lena worked with quiet determination. Her fingers were calloused yet graceful as they guided pale blue satin under the needle. Each stitch was measured, precise. Each dress she made paid for another week of bread, rent, and thread. She had been alone most of her life, ever since her mother died and her fiancé left for the city never to return. Yet loneliness didn't weigh on her. It had simply become the air she breathed. That morning, as she reached to snip a thread, a desperate knock shattered the stillness. When she opened the door, the chill wind blew and a woman barely standing. Her hair was tangled, her eyes wild and glistening. In her trembling arms were two newborns wrapped in thin blankets. "Please," the woman gasped. "Please take them. I can't." Lena's voice softened. "Who are you? What's happened?" The woman didn't answer. Her gaze darted around, fearful as though she were being hunted. She pressed the babies against Lena's chest, their tiny faces hidden beneath the fabric. "They deserve life," she whispered, tears spilling. "Promise me you'll love them." Before Lena could speak, the woman turned and fled down the alley, her figure swallowed by the fog. Lena stood there trembling, two small hearts beating against her chest. She looked down. One baby stirred, stretching his tiny hand as if reaching for her. The other opened her eyes, soft blue like morning skies. She whispered, "You're safe now, little ones. I'll find a way." That night, under the dim light of her sewing lamp, Lena wrapped the twins in warm quilts she'd made from leftover cloth. She named them Eli and Ella, the only names that felt right. As she rocked them to sleep, she realized that her small, silent world had just been filled with the sound of soft breaths and the promise of love. Years passed in threads and laughter. The shop became a home filled with music, the clatter of buttons, the soft cooing of babies, the thud of tiny feet. Eli loved to build towers from spools, while Ella tried to dress her dolls in scraps of silk. Every night, Lena stitched by candlelight, whispering stories about stars and dreams, her needle dancing like a lullaby. The dresses she made carried the weight of her devotion. Each stitch was a prayer that her children would never feel unwanted again. To them, she was not a lonely seamstress. They only knew her as Mama. And when she smiled, the whole world seemed mended. 15 years later, the town had changed, but Lena's shop still stood at the corner of the old market street. The sign had faded, but the air around it still smelled of fabric and fresh bread. Inside, Eli and Ella, now teenagers, were folding dresses, chatting and teasing each other as they helped their mother finish an order. "Careful with that lace, Eli," Lena chided gently, her hair now streaked with silver. "Yes, Mama," he grinned, pretending to bow. "Wouldn't want to upset our royal client." Lena laughed, shaking her head. To her, every day with them was a small miracle. Then outside, the sound of an expensive engine broke the calm. The children glanced up as a sleek black car rolled to a stop in front of the shop, an unfamiliar sight in their humble town. The door opened, and out stepped a man in a charcoal suit, tall and dignified, with silver at his temples and eyes that looked like they'd known loss. Alexander Mirov, a name that filled magazines and business news. A CEO, a millionaire, a man who had built empires from ashes. He paused outside, staring at the little shop as if seeing a ghost. Then he stepped in, his polished shoes silent against the wooden floor. Lena looked up. Their eyes met. And for a moment the years fell away. There was recognition there, though she didn't know from where. "Can I help you?" she asked softly. His gaze wandered to the twins. They were laughing together, light catching in their eyes. His breath caught, those eyes, that smile, the same dimples he once kissed goodnight in his dreams. "My God," he whispered, "they look just like her." Lena froze, heart pounding. Like who? He turned to her, voice trembling. My wife. She died 15 years ago. We had twins, newborns, when everything was lost in a fire. I searched for them for years. I thought they were gone forever. The room fell silent. Only the faint ticking of the clock filled the air. The twins looked at Lena, confusion dawning. Mama? Ella whispered. What's he saying? Lena's throat tightened. She had known deep down that someday the truth might come, that someone, somewhere, would come looking. She placed a trembling hand on their shoulders. I didn't know where you came from, she said softly. A woman brought you to me, begged me to keep you safe. Alexander's eyes filled with tears as he stepped closer. Then you saved them. You saved my children. Eli looked between the two adults, his mother, the woman who'd raised him, and the man whose face mirrored his own. Alexander knelt, voice breaking. I'm your father. Lena turned away, fighting tears. They are your blood, yes, but they're my life. Eli and Ella stood in silence for a moment before Ella reached for Lena's hand. Then maybe we don't have to choose, she said softly. Alexander looked up, meeting Lena's eyes. For the first time in 15 years, hope flickered in his heart. Outside, the market bells rang for evening, and inside the little shop where two worlds had collided, the threads of past and present began to weave together, slowly, tenderly, like the hands of a seamstress mending something broken but still beautiful.